Because you could have wrecked and killed somebody, and then things would be a lot different. I don't play with drunk driving.
And it was because I wanted to be acting stupid. Right away.
Exactly.
It was because I wanted.
Well, because you want to get the Hooters, you could have killed a family of 5.
Right.
Okay? So I'm not here to play games with you. I'm trying to figure out how many alcoholic beverages you had, what time you started, if you had anything to eat since then, or any of that.
So can I just speak to whoever's going to come speak to me?
Yeah. Yeah. She trying to say something?
I'm not trying to be like shit face or anything like that. I'm telling you.
And you said you live in Somerville? What's your address again? Is that in the town of Somerville or like Dorchester County?
I think Dorchester.
I got you. Okay. You live alone or?
I have roommates.
I got you. Any of them sober, able to come get your vehicle?
Well, you usually hear 1 beer, maybe 2 beers, or I didn't drink at all, or I was drinking a lot. But here we're having someone who says he does not know how much he's had to drink or when he started drinking. Looks like they're waiting for an officer to come on the scene to conduct a field sobriety test there. Let's give him a break. Coming right back.
Passenger in the vehicle at this point.
All right. What did I do to you? You didn't do anything to me.
Just tell them where you're at. You're just tell them Velocity Air Sports.
Well, he actually got out and he went to go get back in.
But they would need to bring 2 people.
Welcome to On Patrol Live. We've got more than 50 cameras across the country following law enforcement in real time.
Summer, you got the driver?
We got people coming, okay?
1, 2, 3.
Amazing. They just happened to be there.
He was reunited with his mother in Miami.
Again, thanks to the OP Nation.
On Patrol Live, Encores, all day, every Saturday and Sunday, on Reels, famous and infamous.
Febreze.
Hate it when a car freshener hits you with an overwhelming blast of perfume? Febreze car vent clips work differently. Febreze gives you consistent freshness that starts just right and stays just right. For 40 days, upgrade to Febreze car.
When you download the Kroger app, you have easy access to savings every day and get personalized.
Hospital. We just sat in the waiting room, the smell, the colour of the room. And I remember walking through the door with my head down, knowing she was there, and I couldn't look at her.
She now knows that Jones was bleeding internally when he fell down the steps. This reveals a very important clue about his heart.
I can say that that heart was at least still beating when he got the head trauma.
And that means he did not die from a heart attack. But Dr. G's next finding is even more revealing. As she looks inside Jones's skull, right away she sees the injury that did kill him. A bruise on the left-hand side of his brain.
The definite bruise. He died from the severe head injuries that he received.
Yet Dr. G notices that the bruise on his brain is not directly beneath the cut on Jones's scalp, an injury that she documented in the external exam.
I know the odd thing. The scalp on the right side has one laceration about 1.5 inches in length. Lo and behold, the contusion is on the opposite side, where there's no trauma over the scalp.
This type of injury is referred to as a contre coup, literally meaning opposite the blow. It occurs when a body is in motion and the head strikes a hard surface. The abrupt impact causes the brain to shift from side to side in the skull.
The brain comes back and hits the inside of the skull on the opposite direction. Yeah, that's interesting.
Often a bruise will develop opposite the site of impact as a result of the shifting brain.
As opposed to a blow and you're stationary, the contusion's right underneath the blow.
You have the credentials.
What I saw was similar to an altar for what I would certainly think was satanic worship, with pentagram, candles, and burned items.
Where is she at? He said she's headed.
Invest in your best investor.
My mother was driving Highway 12 west. A car pulled out in front of us. It was an older car, and they were going slowly. So I said to my mother, I said, pass them. So we passed them, and it was the Marines. It was foggy out, but I could see who was in the back seat.
Second-degree murder. He was sentenced to life in prison. The majority of homicides involve victims who know their killers. But when the killers are strangers and there is no motive, police are left scrambling for clues. October 20th, 1993. Just off a rural highway in Boulder County, Colorado, a cleaning woman approached the home of Walter Yoakum. When Yoakum did not respond, the woman went around back and made a frightening discovery. Shattered glass from a broken window. Worried, she ran to contact police. Officer Kyle Miller and his partner from the Boulder County Sheriff's Department on the scene.
Mr. Yoakum didn't answer.
The cleaning woman informed them that her employer, Walter Yoakum, was an elderly man.
That door's open.
For years, she was cleaning for him, for at least 3 years. And every 2 weeks, unnoticed, he would open the door for her, and this is the first time that he hadn't opened the door.
Deputies suspected one or more intruders might still be inside. What they found instead was a gruesome sight. An elderly man sprawled at the bottom of a staircase. Walter Yoakum was identified from his driver's license. The 76-year-old was dead, shot in the neck. Crime scene investigators quickly secured the area. Detective Tony Matthews was put in charge of the case.
My first impression was it was going to be a difficult case to solve. Most murder cases typically are someone known to the victim. This looked like, you know, the victim had been at home, somebody came into his house and shot him.
Detective Bruce Norton helped process the crime scene.
At the point of entry to the house, there was broken glass, both inside and outside the window frame. And there was really good footprints out there that led up to the window.
Norton worked on recovering the footprints, while Detective Matthews checked out the interior. But investigators came up empty. They could only determine the obvious. The suspect or suspects appear to have entered through a ground floor window, stepping in and onto a bed. Plaques and medals on the wall revealed that Walter Yoakum was a veteran and a hero from World War II.
Mr. Yoakum was a waist gunner in a B-17 in World War II, and he survived 34 missions over Nazi-held territory, which is, if you're familiar with history, that's quite a feat. I mean, you know, often in these raids, you know, 10 or 20 or 30% of the planes would go down. So to survive 34 missions was amazing.
The gunshot was a through and through. Matthews observed an entrance wound in the front of the neck, an exit wound out the back.
That makes a lot of sense.
Detective Matthews found small spatters of blood on the upper floor landing. It appeared that Yoakum had been standing at the top of the stairs when shot and tumbled down to the floor below. Under a nearby chair, the deputy found an empty holster. No sign of a gun or the fatal bullet.
In any case involving a gunshot wound, you want to find a bullet because bullets can be ballistically matched to the weapon that fired them.
They found no bullets embedded in the walls, just a strange powdery substance at the top of the stairs. The bullet had torn through the roof, with only a few flecks of crumbled ceiling plaster to point the way.
The bullet had traveled through Mr. Yoakum, and at an upward angle, it had gone through the ceiling and through the roof and out into space. So we then began searching outside the house, the entire roof of the house, the gutters, all of the areas right around the house, up, you know, basically to the entire property line, and we did not find that bullet.
Without the bullet, investigators would not be able to identify the murder weapon, and this case would be nearly impossible to solve. Trip DeMuth from the Boulder County District Attorney's Office specialized in cases of violent crimes.
The first day when I was on the scene, did the walkthrough and was in the front yard. I was seriously doubtful about whether or not we would be able to solve this case.
The only solid lead was a partial print made by someone wearing a lug-soled boot. Detective Norton made a plaster cast of the print. It turned out to be the first in a trail of steps that led police away from the house.
Looks like it might be the same type going up in this direction.
Detective Norton followed the trail, hoping it would lead to more clues.
Those shoe patterns actually went out across the
Chuppy, 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 chuppy.